Gun violence continues to plague our cities and many of our neighborhoods. Earlier today, I checked Portland statistics from January 1st through the end of June. 673 different shooting instances have been reported to police. That's an average of nearly 4 a day, every day, somewhere in Portland. It's bad in other areas too. It's so common that there's a danger that we could all get numb to the sound of gunfire. So what can be done? A lot of smart people are trying to figure that out right now, and nearly every idea, it seems, is getting some pretty serious consideration. One of the latest sounds a little bit out there, but it's actually being done in some other cities around the country. The plan is to stick special microphones high up on poles or buildings in different parts of the city and have them listen for the sound of gunfire. The idea is to give police a head start on getting to the scene and maybe catching the bad guys. Last I heard, one of the problems that we have here in Portland is not enough officers to respond to the shootings that were already being called in. But let's put that aside for a moment. A local citizens committee has studied the idea, and they think the city of Portland should go for it. Evan Watson explains.
A police oversight group, FitCog, says Portland should turn to ShotSpotter for help with rising gun violence in the city. If the mayor and city council agree to a pilot program, ShotSpotter's sensors would be placed on street poles or buildings, listening for gunshots and alerting police when and where shots are fired. Portland Police Sergeant Kenneth Dulio says it would help officers.
A lot of 911 calls, we're just going to get it quicker, right? So you have a better chance to get there and potentially, see a vehicle leaving the scene, seeing a shooter run on foot, getting information quicker. You can get out to other responding officers, set a perimeter, potentially provide life-saving measures.
The FitCog recommendation report to the mayor's office says most gunshots are not called in through 911, arguing that this technology would help fill that gap. The report says gunshot detection by itself is not a panacea for gun violence, but if used as part of a comprehensive gun crime response strategy, it can contribute to a reduction.
Now, of course, it's up to you and the police department and the city to decide whether or not ShotSpotter is worth it.
That's the big question. How much value would ShotSpotter bring for the money and police resources that it would cost? While FitCog says ShotSpotter would help officers find evidence and solve cases, reviews like this one from the Chicago Office of Inspector General found that ShotSpotter alerts rarely led police to evidence of a gun-related crime. That happened about 9% of the time. Are there enough Portland police officers to respond to all the ShotSpotter alerts? The FitCog report says the tech would allow the Bureau to concentrate resources in a more data-driven way, reducing waste. The ShotSpotter rep recognized the challenge.
You have a staffing issue, you have a limited resource issue, want to make sure you get full utility out of the service, putting it where it's most needed based on historical review of gunfire.
And where would the sensors be placed, in which communities, and how much would that cost? FitCog recommends putting ShotSpotter sensors in all areas of Portland representing high-risk areas for gun violence in an effort to be equitable to all communities. But ShotSpotter charges by the square mile. A 10-square-mile section of Portland could cost the city up to $1 million per year. FitCog also recommends how the city could use ShotSpotter with conditions and then release data about how it's working. The committee also said Portland should pay for it through federal grants or other means, not by taking away from public service or social service budgets. Now it's up to the mayor and city council. Evan Watson, KGW News.